Well, thank you. I'm very glad to be here and realize just coming in at the end of the last session that I should have been here from the very beginning. These are all the issues that I live for. My intention today is to give you a very quick overview of what we've been trying to do in scaling up a particular program that called Success for All for high poverty Title I elementary schools. We have programs for middle schools as well, but let me talk primarily about the elementary schools where we have the greatest experience. Let me say just a little bit about what it is. Mostly it's a package of professional development programs. Our requirement in terms of the model is that each element has to have its own strong evidence of effectiveness, and so we've done reviews of research to understand what are effective ways of doing all of the different kinds of things that you would have to do to have a successful school. So we're making a lot of use in instruction of cooperative learning, of proven reading strategies, effective classroom management strategies, and so on. Of effective grouping strategies, ways of doing monitoring of children's progress and assessment, tutoring for children who are having particular difficulties, providing one-to-one tutoring, or we have an alternative that's a small group model for particularly first graders who are struggling in learning to read before they fall very far behind. Using evidence about coaching, essentially, about how do you bring about change within a school. We have a facilitator located in the school who works with teachers every day and helps them to implement complex changes in their daily teaching behaviors, and as well as a system of support from outside the school that works primarily through the principal and the facilitator, and then down to individual teachers to try to maintain high quality and thoughtful implementation of all of the changes going on here. We also have all of you HHS types will be glad to know we have what we call a solutions team, which deals with all of the issues that go beyond academics. It deals with parents, it deals with health, eyeglasses, attendance, children with serious behavior problems, and so on. Tries to integrate with other services in the area. Again, trying to find what are evidence-based practices that deal with all these issues. Part of the theory of action here is that in high poverty schools, solving any one thing is worthless because all of the other things that are wrong will undermine the thing that you just solved. That you've got to be really dealing with the whole organization, the whole community of parents and of learners, because there's so much that is there just waiting to undermine whatever you do, that you've got to be attending to many things at the same time. We work right now in about 1,000 schools. At our height, we worked with about 1,500 in 47 states. The average school has been with us for more than 10 years, which is really quite an extraordinary thing. The program is designed for continuity. It's designed to live through hostile superintendents, funding cuts, changes of the basic people who brought you in, changes of principals, changes of curriculum, changes of state superintendent, changes of governor, because those are all things that will happen. It's designed to create something that is robust enough, that has duplicating systems so that when something goes terribly wrong, there's another system that's already in place to support the continuity and the continued change. And we can talk about that later. About 80% of these schools, kids that we work with, receive free lunch. And so they're almost all Title I school-wide projects, which means they have quite a lot of resources for this kind of change. But those resources typically don't make a lot of difference. They tend to be used remedially after the kids have already fallen behind in very unplanful kinds of ways. But it means that there is a resource, that if you can attach to that resource and make better use of something, that's a whole lot better than going out and trying to find extra resources somewhere else. So that's another key aspect of scale up and continuity. We maintain a very large staff. We have a staff of about 220 located all over the country. We have a headquarters in Baltimore that does all the back office and the development and the research and things like that. But a lot of it has to do with regional centers that we have established all over the U.S. That provide the training and follow-up and coaching services to the schools. And having experimented with a variety of models, having people who are locally based but work for a national organization seems to be the most effective, and you can draw me out on that. And as Bob Granger was saying, we recently got a $50 million I3 grant to help us to do the further dissemination, and we promise to add an additional 1,000 schools to our network over the next 4 years. There's a lot of research on Success for All. I won't go into it at all, but just to say that there is a lot, third-party, large-scale, randomized, stuff like that. So here's the part that I really wanted to focus on, which is the scale-up aspects. So here's the problem. How do you build something to go to scale and maintain quality? It's really a question a lot like in ancient times, the problem of learning how to sail outside of the sight of land. You know, it's one thing to be able to kind of feel your way along, but when you're really creating something large enough that you can't know the names of the principals anymore, then you're into very difficult territory. The natural tendency of humans and of institutions is to undermine, to do something, to do much less, to do whatever is cheap, whatever is easy, whatever does not take as much to do. And so you've got to plan against that. You know that that's going to happen. That's not, oops, they did this, that, and the other thing. Those are going to happen. Almost every time they would happen if you allowed it. So you've got to be a son of a bitch, basically. You've got to be very clear on what it is that works, and stick with it, and ask that people who want to associate with your network use the whole thing. And then you can do the research, as people were talking about, to find out, are there things we can do without, and are there ways that we can do this better or more cost effectively? But you've got to be willing and able to say, you're no longer a Success for All school if you're not implementing this, that, and the other thing, and to make that a high status, valued network. During the 1990s, we were adding about 50% to our network every year. That is incredibly difficult. It means that we were scaling up with vast numbers of schools, building our own organization, experimenting with a number of different ways of delivering the services, dealing with issues like capital, which is a huge one. When you have, over the course of the year, you run out of money and have to have capital to deal with that. Dealing with the issue of building up our own staff and maintaining quality and accountability internally at the same time as we're trying to do this throughout the country. So what did we learn? Number one, build your own coaching capacity. Train the trainer, turnkey, anything like that means I don't really care. It will not work. People have tried this for years and years. It never, ever works to turn over your model to somebody else unless you maintain a relationship with them such that you can make sure that the thing that they're doing is the thing that you researched and found to be effective. So you can have partners. You can have local people who do the same thing that your trainer's doing. That's, absolutely, you want lots of buy-in and participation by people at the local level. But in terms of the quality of what's going on, you must control it. It must be part of your organization and part of the deal. It's the contract that people sign at the outset. You have to have a lot more professional development and coaching than people think they can pay for. Change is always expensive. We've done lots of reviews of research in different areas of education reform. The things that work are the things that get trained. The things that get a lot of professional development, that get on site, that help, that watch what teachers do. The idea that you can send people a book or a computer program or do something by over the internet is not going to happen. It's going to take professional development, and because not only to train people, but also to be in the school and see what's going on and give feedback that's associated with what they're actually doing. So you can continuously improve the quality of implementation. You need to be very, very explicit, very clear what it is, to what is the program, but also adapt to local needs. I mean, obviously, we work with lots of schools on the Bering Strait, in the northern, what do they call the slope? on the Bering Straits, way out in Alaska. We work in New York City. We work in Atlanta. We work in Indian reservations. These are different places, and they have different needs, and we have to be ready to provide appropriate adaptation to the different needs. But that's not to say that anything goes, that there are certain things that we've learned over time, sometimes through actual research, more often through good experience or hard experience. This is essential. This must be done. These things, we can do it in a different way in your community. That's fine. But it must be done in somehow. Somebody's got to find a way to do that. You got to, people do things a whole lot better when they want to do them. So we require a vote of at least 75% of the school faculty at the outset. We try to tell teachers what this is all about, let them consider it, send a delegation to see a school going on, things of that kind, but ultimately they get to vote by secret ballot. It's critical. It's critical. And then, if you're worried, well, then you're not going to serve the nastiest schools. You're not going to succeed with the nastiest schools anyway. The best way to succeed with a really nasty school is to work in a fairly similar school nearby, make a really big difference with them. They are the one who did want to do it, and then come back to the nasty school and say, the school down the road did this, and there's, it didn't hurt them. But you got to, there's so many schools. This is a really big country. So many schools that need so much service. Work with the ones that want to do it, that have the problems, but that want to do it, and then deal with the ones that were more recalcitrant. And use people on site who represent the program, who embody the program. People don't care about research. They don't care about programs. They care about people. And if you have Miss Jones, the facilitator who carries the program to the school and is responsible for the quality of it, the people are much more likely to respond to Miss Jones than they are to this program or that research or this person in Washington who doesn't even know what I'm doing. Important, I'm stopping. It's important to stay nonprofit. Almost every example I know of nonprofits that have said, the for-profit world knows how to do this, they're big businessmen, they've got lots of capital, you never hear from them again. The for-profit world, I love it. It's some of my best friends are for-profit people. But it's just not a good reason. It's not a good way to do this kind of work. And anyway, so I can talk more about this, but just one last word. This can be done. The kinds of things that we've done with Success for All they're not that clever. They're not hard to think of. They're not even that hard to do in a certain way. They can be replicated. The kinds of things that we've done could be done in other fields, but there are a few things that you just have to think through, I think, that are fairly common sense, but they're difficult in the sense that they're often expensive or they're often don't exist right now and so on, but can be done. This is not an impossible process, and I think, frankly, it's the only way forward. Otherwise, we're just pushing back and forth the same solutions that we always have. The only way forward, and the only way forward in any field, is through innovation, evaluations, and then replication of successful things. That's how technology works, that's how medicine works, that's how agriculture works. Why shouldn't that be how human services work? And that's it.